Ladies and gentlemen, Tumblr got something right. There is a third gender. Cuck. We've heard of mansplaining, but unfortunately men are overrepresented in the media. We need more representation for cucks. So get ready to hear some cucksplaining from some of the most notorious cucks on YouTube. So first of all, I wanted to clarify something I said about Riley Dennis. I did a 30-second reaction to his name change, and I indicated that he failed at it, which he did. But I do want to say, I will do my best to call him by his preferred name. He can change his name to whatever he wants to, however, he is still a man. Gender is objective, but names aren't. I'm going to call him a man because he is a man, but calling him by his original name would just be unnecessary. And I don't want to call him by that just to be mean to him, just like I call Milo Stewart Milo, even though she's a girl. That being said, I'm more annoyed by why he changed his name than the fact that he did. We all know that he didn't really change his name because he wanted to have a feminine name, which it wasn't in the first place, or because he's truly transgender. He changed it because people were questioning his identity because he went with the male name and claimed to be a trans woman. He didn't attempt to try to prove he's not a transgender, not because he actually is trans. And that's the part that bothers me. Had people not criticized for him, he wouldn't have changed his name. And yet people still believe that he genuinely suffers from a condition that affects real people. I can't believe the stupidity of humanity. Anyways, completely reduced himself to beyond cuck level, in the name of being an SJW. Today I'm going to respond to him complaining about how gay movie villains are. Yep, you heard that right. We're not even talking about first world problems anymore. We're talking about negative seventh world problems at this point. In fact, I think the fact that anyone thinks this is a problem is so funny that I made a meme about it. That's right, Riley J. Dennis. If you're watching this, you've got your own meme. Congratulations. Anyway, let's get into this cancer. Get ready to hear some cucksplaining.
Hey humans, so today we're going to talk about something called queer coding. What do you have against queer coding? What, you don't want queer people to learn computer science? What? No, that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about... Because I'm queer and I code just fine. It's not like my code is queer. Yeah, no, I get that. I told you I don't have a problem with... Except this one time, I did write a program that turned someone's computer gay. Computers have a sexual orientation? I mean... They do if you actually know how to code. Okay.
Right off the bat, you gotta tell a lame joke. Is that what it really takes to captivate your audience, Riley? Imagine they can't have IQs any higher than 62 if that's what makes them laugh.
So anyways, coding, when we're talking about the media, is when writers heavily imply that a character has a specific trait without explicitly saying that they have that trait.
So how do you know for sure if they're that trait then?
Queer coding is when writers, intentionally or not, imply that a character is queer, which usually means gay, but is also an umbrella term for other marginalized identities based on gender or sexuality.
So queer includes your gender too? Oh Jesus Christ, I'm out of here, I'm done. But anyway, how can you unintentionally imply that a character is gay? Aren't you not implying it if you don't intend to? And why would you do that unintentionally anyway?
Oh, I get it now, but isn't that a good thing? Doesn't that mean we get more representation in the media? Not exactly. Queer coding is harmful in a few ways, but the biggest one is that it's usually villains who are strongly queer coded.
So who cares about this? Who other than you? Who cares?
Disney villains are often the clearest examples of this. Hades from Hercules has feminine mannerisms and is seen drinking a girly drink.
I noticed how you put those things in quotes. So if those things aren't feminine to begin with in your mind, what's the problem in the first place? And drinking a girly drink or other small inconsequential things that doesn't automatically make someone gay. You're the one who's implying that. You're the one who's being homophobic by stereotyping. This is why I think most social justice warriors are just projecting. They're homophobic or racist or whatever. So I think everyone else must be prejudiced too.
Jafar from Aladdin has feminine mannerisms, a feminine speech pattern, and looks to be wearing eye makeup. Scar from The Lion King, Governor Ratcliffe from Pocahontas, and Captain Hook from Peter Pan are usually seen as queer-coded as well for similar reasons. Ursula from The Little Mermaid is even modeled after a drag performer named Divine.
Ursula is a female witch octopus thing. She's not designed to be a gay man, even if she was based off of the drag queen.
But this goes beyond Disney. The most obvious example I can think of is him from the Powerpuff Girls, who wears a pink tutu, is fanned by nearly naked men in one episode, and regularly switches between a high-pitched feminine voice and a deeper masculine voice. I don't get why that's bad. I loved all those villains. Yeah, I think a lot of queer people feel a connection to these villains because they can relate to them to some degree.
No, I'm pretty sure that gay people do not feel a connection to these villains any more than anyone else because not all gay men are feminine, and certainly most of them don't wear tutus and switch their voices. They're cartoon characters, so I'm sure most people don't feel a connection to them anyway.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but the obvious queer coding of villains and the lack of queer protagonists makes it really easy for people to associate queerness with being evil.
No. This is the thing that the SJWs and the far right bring up that annoys the hell out of me. They think that everyone in the world are just these robots, and that anything in the media is going to go directly into their head. That's simply not true. People have the ability to think for themselves, you know.
If the only time you ever see a feminine man is when he's evil, I don't think you're going to have very positive associations towards feminine men.
I'm pretty sure no one is going to look at a feminine man and think, oh, there's a feminine man. I saw that Jafar from Aladdin was evil back when I was 6 years old, so this guy must be evil too. And by the way, Riley, not all feminine men are gay.
This can easily influence young people who see these TV shows and movies. Queer youth can begin seeing themselves as other, as something that's not normal, as something that's to be defeated.
First of all, Riley, these sorts of films are directed at little kids. I know some of them are classics that people of all ages can enjoy, but I'm pretty sure queer youth usually don't watch them. Second of all, villain does not equate to different or other. I think you're just projecting it again. There's a villain in almost every movie ever made. How's that different or other?
Non-queer youth, likewise, find it even easier to demonize queer people because that's the association they have with queerness.
So let me get this straight. All straight youth or people automatically demonize gay people, and watching Disney movies helps them with this? Is this like a conspiracy theory? It's not even dumber than Salafi preacher said that SpongeBob makes the kids gay. Not all straight people are homophobic, Milo Stewart. I mean Riley J. Dennis.
Yeah, but the stuff that you mentioned, like feminine mannerisms and feminine speech patterns, that doesn't make someone queer.
Exactly, so why are you making this video again?
You're only making that connection because it's a stereotype. You know, I agree. I don't think people are defined by their mannerisms or their speech patterns. I think there can be feminine straight men and masculine gay men and all sorts of different gender expressions that are totally valid. But that doesn't erase the fact that most people will read these characters, or at least these characteristics, as potentially queer.
Projection again. Not all people do that.
The unfortunate reality is that we live with these stereotypes. Men who do feminine things are unfairly stereotyped as being gay. Women who have short hair and who act more masculine are unfairly stereotyped as being lesbians.
Funny as you claim to be a lesbian. Sorry, I just thought it was funny.
We all know this. We all have these biases in our heads.
Again, this is SJW argument that I hate. By we, I assume you mean straight people. Okay, let me tell you something. Straight people are not the Borg. White people are not the Borg. Men are also not the Borg. People who aren't disabled are not the Borg. And the evil cis scum are not the Borg either. And neither are any minorities. I can't believe people are this dumb to think in such a collectivist mindset. But that's how the far right acts too, so I shouldn't be surprised.
So when we see a villain acting stereotypically gay, we make that association.
No, you make that association. Stop projecting, Riley. We all know that you have massive guilt for being a white, straight, cis male. And yes, Riley, that is exactly what you are.
Even those of us who are aware that it's just a stereotype, we know what's being hinted at. To ignore that and say that we are beyond these stereotypes is the colorblind argument.
And what's wrong with that argument? The colorblind argument is that you shouldn't care about anybody's race or sexual orientation or any trivial aspects of what they are. And that's exactly what normal people do. The fact that you care about such trivial, inconsequential things as somebody's mannerisms is very telling.
You're saying that because you're aware of these stereotypes and you know better, that everyone else has to as well.
Exactly. What, do you want everyone to be racist or sexist or homophobic? Oh, wait, I forgot you do, so you can call everybody those things and virtual signal in the process.
But that's not how it works. People are going to associate these characteristics with queer people because they associate these stereotypes with queer people. We can want to live in a world where these characteristics have no association with queerness, but we're not there yet.
How do you know that? Just because you associate those things with being gay doesn't mean that everybody else does. Can you read people's minds or something? Stop projecting. Just stop.
Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. But I mean, isn't this just like a made-up Tumblr word? It's not like a real thing.
Exactly, Riley. Only SJWs would care about something so trivial.
Oh man, I don't know how to break this to you, but like, all of the words are made up. Like, all of them. Yeah, so this is a real sociological theory.
Oh great, sociology. You mean the pseudoscience that SJWs use to back all of their theories?
There was even a study published in 2003 that examined the ways in which gender transgression and queering are used as an indicator of deviance and villainy in children's animated full-length movies. So it didn't use the term queer coding, but that's exactly what it was.
So you mean someone watched films and gave their ideological opinion on it? Sorry to break it to you, Riley, but that's not science. That sounds more like religion.
This is also often referred to as the sissy villain trope, which the study does talk about. Regardless, even if there wasn't a history of this being talked about, that doesn't disqualify it as a real thing.
It kinda does. If I say I'm zap-sexual now, is that a real thing? I made it up. There's no history of it being talked about. But I guess it must be a real thing, right?
If someone pointed out a new problem in movies tomorrow, we should give it just as much consideration as we would any older critique.
Why are people talking about problems in movies anyway? They're not real. They're movies.
Because I think that we need to be critical of our media, even media that we really enjoy, if we want it to get better. Defending any use of queer-coded villains just because you like Disney movies isn't necessary.
So what do you expect from people? For them to remake the Disney movies so the villains aren't too gay for you? Isn't that kind of homophobic, Riley?
We can enjoy media and point out its flaws. So I would like to know what you all think about this concept. Have you ever noticed this happening with other villains?
Okay, let's do this. Let's look at some villains from famous classic movies. Let's see, Star Wars, The Matrix, Titanic, Terminator, nope, no flamboyant villains to be seen. The only flamboyant villain I can think of off the top of my head is the guy Sacha Baron Cohen plays in Talladega Nights, and he's actually supposed to be gay.
Do you think queer coding villains could warp our perceptions of queer people?
No. And by the way, are you suggesting that there's a big conspiracy of screenwriters who all want us to think that gay people are evil? Oh boy, you're more of a conspiracy theorist than Alex Jones, for crying out loud.
Let me know down in the comments. This video is a part of a series I'm doing for everyday feminism.
Okay, that explains everything. Do yourself a favor, Riley, and get yourself as far away from that toxic waste dump as you possibly can.
A website dedicated to helping you stand up to and break down everyday oppression. So I'll put a link down below so you can check out my previous videos in the series. And as usual, I love you all very much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye!
Oh god, the cringe. Well, I'm glad that was over. I hope you enjoyed this video. By the way, this would likely be the last video in the Cucksplain It to Me series, unless you have any more suggestions for me. Thanks for watching.
Feel the funk blast!